Minister, you only have to look at the GDP share that tourism has in this country to realise how important the sector is. On October the 22nd, society will reopen with venues and attractions expected to be operating at full capacity. The pandemic has had a devastating effect on tourism, and the impact will be felt for a very long time after the full reopening of society. The sector will need significant support, and we need a commitment that the 9% VAT rate will be kept in place. We also need a commitment that the employment wage subsidy scheme continues into next year so that the survival of these businesses are assured. The scheme should have more targeted eligibility to ensure that businesses that continue to be disproportionately impacted by COVID can be supported for the first quarter of the year, with further extensions if necessary. The government's only tourism stimulus measure to stay and to spend tax rebate was a flop really, and did very little to stimulate the sector. The feedback I received from constituents was that it didn't go far enough, was unnecessarily complicated and required an input of 80% of the upfront costs for them, which they did not have. And as Deputy Cronin said, what would have been far more beneficial would have been to introduce the tourism hospitality voucher along the lines of the Sinn Féin proposal, which would have given €200 to every adult and €100 to every child in the state. And finally, in the brief time I have left, if I could turn to the aviation sector, we need an aviation recovery plan. We need it yesterday, and we need to protect workers in the aviation sector. We have seen the Dublin Airport Authority's recent attempt to outsource frontline maintenance work, and this must be resisted, Minister. We need to see all of the recommendations of the Aviation Recovery Task Force from July 2020 being introduced. The most recent national aviation policy was published 6 years ago. This must be reviewed urgently. We are an island nation, and that's very important. And our aviation sector is vital. It's time this government gave the help it deserves. Thank you. Thank you, Count Corner.
Deputy.